Hi everybody, I'm here with your 712 lesson, How Can I Compare the Rate? Comparing rates with tables and graphs. Rates are used in many situations to describe and compare information. For example, you might compare the gas mileage of different vehicles when you are buying a car. Gas mileage refers to how many miles each car can travel per gallon of gas. You may also want to determine the print quality of a printer by comparing different printers' numbers of dots per square inch. In banking, the percent of interest earned per dollar, called interest rate, is an important rate to consider. Today you will focus on different ways to explain rates, display rates in tables and graphs as a way to compare information. As you work with your team, ask each other these questions. Which quantities can we compare? Are the ratios equivalent? How else can the ratio be expressed? So 714 says, the local news station is selecting this week's Student Athlete of the Week. Wendy and Yoshi, sprinters on the track team, are both finalists. They are trying to decide who is fastest based on the recent race data. Wendy's times are represented in the table at right. A. Copy the table and use the relationship shown in it to complete the table for Wendy. How can you use the table to find Wendy's running rate? How can you write her rate as a ratio? So go ahead and pause the video when I'm done talking. You want to fill in this table. You don't have to copy it down. And then you want to answer the questions. Go ahead and do that. Okay, if you're back with me, then you have answered this and filled in your table. So let's take a look. So if she runs 30 meters in 5 seconds, in 10 seconds, she's going to run 60 meters. 15, she ran 90. In 25, she's going to run 150. And in 45, she's going to run 270. So how can you use this table to find Wendy's running rate? Well, we know that she runs 30 meters every 5 seconds. So remember, when you're writing as a ratio, there are a couple ways you can write it, with a colon, or you can write it as a fraction. That information is just what we got right from this table. There's nothing else you had to do besides just read the table. So part B says, Yoshi can run 70 meters in 11 seconds, which can be expressed by the ratio 70 meters to 11 seconds. Do the two runners travel at the same speed? If not, who is running faster? Explain your reasoning. So go ahead and try part B. Okay, so hopefully you came up with that no, they're not running at the same speed. So we know that Yoshi's running 70 meters in 11 seconds. Okay, so if Yoshi is running 70 meters in 11 seconds, we can create ourselves a table. So this is time. My table's not very big. This is distance. So in 11 seconds, 70. So now we have to double everything. Okay, so we want to add 11 again. So it's going to be 22. And 70 times 2 would be 140. Okay, so let's take a look. We're not really close to compare our tables here. So if we go up to 33, we're going to get 210 meters. So if we look, in 33 seconds, Yoshi can travel 210 meters. In 35 seconds, up in Wendy's table, she can only travel 210 meters in 35 seconds. So they both have traveled the same distance, but Yoshi has gotten there first according to our table. So we want to say that Yoshi can go 210 meters in 33 seconds, while Wendy can go 210 meters in 35 seconds. Okay. So if we flip it over, 715 says, to compare the two runners, the news station wanted to make a graph of their rates. Create a table of values for Yoshi's running rate similar to the one for Wendy in problem 714. Work with your team to decide how to set up the table and complete it. So 715, we already started that table for you at the bottom of 714 part B. So you're going to want to copy down this table on part A. Like I said, we already started it for you, and you're going to want to finish it. I recommend going up to 55 seconds. Okay, so go ahead and finish that table. Okay, if you're back with me, you finished the table, so I'm just going to go back over here and add it. So in 44 seconds, we would have gone 280 meters, and in 55 seconds, we would have gone 350 meters. Okay. Part B says, using the coordinate grid on the resource page, plot pairs of values from each table and create a line for Yoshi and a line for Wendy. Use color or another means to distinguish the label and label the two lines. Click in the lower right corner of the graph to view it in full screen, but we're not going to do that. So you have a resource page right here titled Athlete of the Week. You are going to graph Wendy's line. So remember, Wendy's line is this table up here. You're going to graph those points, and then you're going to graph Yoshi's line. Remember when you're graphing XY, so this would be 530. So you would go over 5 and then up 30. If this is 50, well, half of that's 25. So 30 is going to be approximately in here somewhere. Okay, so you're going to continue graphing for Yoshi and Wendy. Okay, if you're back with me, you've completed your graph. Now you're going to answer part C. Based on the graph, who is running faster? Does this match your conclusion from part B of problem 714? Justify your answer. So go ahead and answer part C. And if you're back with me, you answered part C. We are going to talk about that in class. Finally, part D. The graph above, which is up here, I drew the arrow down. So it's this graph that was actually under part B. Shows information for Vanessa's last week's Athlete of the Week. What is Vanessa's rate? If she were to race Yoshi and Wendy, who would she win? Who would win? So if we're looking at this graph, in 5 seconds, because this is counting by fives, how far does she run? You got to look where that line is crossing, okay? So I kind of set you up there, so go ahead and answer that question. And if you're back with me, you answered. So you should have said that Vanessa runs 25 meters every 5 seconds. So she would be the slowest. Yoshi would win. Okay. So again, if you weren't sure by looking at this graph, you could have made a table. Okay, so if this is time, this is distance. We know 5 seconds passed, she ran 25 meters. 10 seconds passed, she ran 50 meters, etc. So you could also make that into a table to help you visualize all this. Once you are done with this, please make sure that you upload a picture. Remember, I also need to see a picture of your graph. If you have any questions, please email me.